Ooh.
Ronnie,
Hi.
hi. You got the memo to wear something that matched my shirt.
I know my pink's a little bit more corally.
It is. It is. And I'm a little bit darker. Even though I have the Zoom light, I have the shadow.
But you've got like that natural light coming in off of your left there.
I do, which makes this side dark, which is why I have the Zoom light, but then it casts the shadow. Anyway, today's topic is animism. I want to talk about animism. Okay, I'll read the definition.
Animism.
Animism. So the first definition is the attribution of a soul to plants, inanimate objects, and natural phenomena. That's the first definition. Second definition is the belief in a supernatural power that organizes and animates the material universe. So I've heard this I've heard this term, animism, and I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm an animist. Like I don't think that chair has a soul. I don't think like inanimate objects have a soul. But I wonder if everything is, if consciousness is the source, if consciousness is the source, then is everything that exists, does it have consciousness? So not is the chair conscious. So let's maybe like release inanimate objects. But like, does the tree have consciousness? Does the flower have consciousness? Not in the same way that I have consciousness, but a version of consciousness. What do you think?
Wow. And I thought we were going to talk about like
Movies. We are. You keep
crochet or
talking
something.
about what?
The crochet.
Oh, crochet. Next week. The topic is crochet next week.
Crochet. Wow, that is a heavy hitting topic.
Yeah.
With there, and I mean, we could have a panel of intellectuals and spiritual people and talk for hours about this.
I know.
Um,
But we
but,
are the panel
but
and
we
we
are
are
the panel.
and we are the
So
intellectuals and we're going to talk for 10 minutes.
okay, we'll have it all figured out by then. Canadians are good at that. We're the barstool prophets of the world. Okay,
Are we?
so here's the thing. First, we have to sort of, we may not even agree on this, and I know that religions don't agree on this, is we have to define what a soul is before we say, does the chair have a soul? Does a tree have a soul? Right? What is that? Really, what is consciousness? Is that our
Nobody,
soul? Right?
nobody knows.
If you believe in the Judeo-Christian religions, then we have a spirit, we have a soul, and when we die, that's what gets returned to God, right? In a way. So like we are this fleshy body, but there's something else existing, this forever being inside of us. That's our soul. Me personally, I don't subscribe to that because I believe we are like strictly, physics and biology combined. We are atoms and cells, and all the cells in my body work collectively, including the ones in my brain, and gives me a sense of self-awareness. To me, that's my consciousness. The fact that I can acknowledge the fact that I am alive and I am animate in this world. Now, do trees have that? That's a good question. I would have to say, compared to the human model, probably not. But that doesn't mean that they don't. I would wager, I would go so far as to say perhaps they do. It's just this brain can't comprehend that type of that style, that kind of soul. Um,
Right.
Recent science has shown that Forests underground, there's a fungus, a fungal myofibrous, or something, I forget the actual word, that is
Mycorrhizal.
and it's 100% connected, and they can actually, they're finding now they can communicate. Trees can communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So there's, and I mean, we don't know enough about that to make a call as to whether or not they have knowledge of self-existence. Are they sentient? I don't think we're authorized or qualified to make that kind of a call. Now, here's something else that's very interesting too. Is, you know, trees have a life force, as does all living things on Earth. Their goal is to keep living and produce more living things of their own kind, right? We can't deny that. That's right there in front of us. So evolution in it itself may have some sort of a knowledge of self-existence, because it's the driving force to continually improve every single generation of every single living thing on Earth.
Yes. And just going back to, we can't make that call, A, because we don't have the credentials, and B, because you just said, like, my brain can't figure that out.
Not big enough.
But what I do have is have an experience, and this is where I'm not an expert or coming at it from an expert's point of view, but I get to have my experience, which is, I have felt, when I put my arms around a tree, I have felt held by that tree. I've felt that. I've had that experience. I've had this experience of landing. I wasn't landing the plane, but I was in a plane that was landing, and I looked out, and all the trees were waving, and I was like, they're welcoming me to this place, you know, and that's not a fact. It's not science, but it's an experience of this thing, which I think is where I lean toward, which is animism, which is, and again, you said we don't have to agree on this, and we're not even necessarily talking about the same thing, but I often feel known by the natural world. I definitely have felt that with animals. I have often felt that with plants, fauna.
And none of what you said I would disagree with at all, because I can't prove it or disprove it.
Yeah.
Right. Your connection with your place in nature is yours, and no one can tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, and I'll say it again, like, our human brains, I don't believe are sophisticated enough to understand the true connection of everything in this universe.
Yeah.
I mean, even the smartest astrophysicists on Earth can only see a tiny little portion of the universe, right? There's the known universe, and then there's the universe we don't know about. And it's so vast. How could we possibly make any claims of any kind? We can't, right? You felt a connection with the tree hugging it. That says something to me. Maybe there is a connection, right? And yeah, like, absolutely. And but what we can quantify is that we are made of the same things that everything else in the known universe is made of, right?
Yeah.
We're the same atoms, like my oxygen and
Yes.
carbon and hydrogen and everything else that makes up all the cells in my body. All those atoms are exactly the same as the atoms in another galaxy that we can see. And even when we look into another star system, we can tell what things that star is made out of based on the colors and whatnot. There's a spectrum of colors that can tell us what elements are in that star. They're the same elements as they are in this star system with our sun. So we're made out of the same stuff. And if that means, if the matter is the same, then probably so is the energy. And if the matter and the energy are the same, then we're all connected somehow. Somehow we're all connected. We just don't, we can't figure it out.
We can't figure it out. And that, I want to talk about that next time, because the question that I have when you say those things is like, that's so incredible. How come we can't wake up every day and have that reality just be like pulsing through us and be like, I love being alive. It's so amazing. Okay, so hold that thought for next time. And you thought we were going to talk about movies. We can for a moment, which is Ents. Lord of the Rings, the trees are the Ents. Like that imagination that we're given as humans to create a character, not a character, like a being of a tree that has a personality, that is a kind of animism that
Oh my God, yes.
Tolkien came up with.
But here's the really cool thing: before Peter Jackson got his claws onto it, he made that animism you're talking about. He just set it down on paper
Yeah.
with a pen.
Yes.
And you read it, and now it's in your mind. Tell me there's not a connection there.
Yeah.
Right? Like this, like the more creative and the more articulate that an author can be, the better the images in your head. That's some kind of a system. That communication is some kind of really a kind of an unexplainable system.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it is. And I never read Lord of the Rings, but before I even watched the movies, the relentless battle movies of Lord of the Rings, I did have relationships with trees. I did. That's it.
Cool.
We're done. Next time we'll see if we wear the same color.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Makes it
connected somehow.
surprising. Well, it'd be interesting to see if there's a connection there.
There is. Goodbye. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.